and welcome back to Business Class. If you're listening and not watching today, I'm in my comfies. I've got my legs crossed, which probably doesn't look great on the camera, but I feel like today is just a topic that I've wanted to go a bit deeper into. That's a difficult topic to speak about, and I just feel like I needed a Zen vibe today. So welcome in. I hope that today's episode resonates with you. Today, I really want to get into relationships and how that works with owning a business. So, what it's like when you first start a business. How do your friends, family, boyfriends, girlfriends, how do they react? And then also maintaining relationships now that you're running the business is also really hard to do. So I'm going to start off with my takeoffs and departures, as always. My takeoff this week is a little one. And it's just that I'm getting more into reading. Like, I have always been a reader, and I think that for me, I just need something where I can switch off my brain every night. So I've been reading like the Akatar series. If you've you know. I feel like everyone knows about Akatar. So it's A Court of Thorns and Roses. I'm on the third book, like halfway through the third book. I'm not gonna lie, I'm struggling a bit. But I think it's because I don't know if anyone else finds this that reads, and I will come off this topic in a minute if you're not a reader. When you've got so much going on and your brain's just so excited and there's just loads going on, I feel like I can't really concentrate on the words. Like, I'm reading the words, but nothing's going in. So yeah, I've been reading more, which has been great, and just like trying to get into the routine of doing that every day, just so that I just sit on my iPad before I go to bed. It's so bad. And my departures has just been this week, just like the boring business stuff, like the legal stuff, paperwork, paying my VAT bill. Like, ugh, I hate paying stuff. I hate it. Oh my God. Yeah, it's just such a large amount of money that just goes. And I'm like, I know it's going somewhere good, probably to a library or a hospital or something, but it doesn't feel good for me right now. So yeah, that's been a lot this week. And I think the thing with me is I don't have to know everything. And I've just got an amazing team that helps me out with it. And yeah, I don't need to know. My brain is at full capacity. So that's kind of drained me a bit this week. So we're going to get into today's episode, and I really hope that this resonates with someone. So let's head on into business class. Okay. Friends, family, and relationships. I've spoken a bit about this before. I feel like I'm always hesitant to speak about it because I'm like, I don't want to offend anyone, or I don't want to say the wrong thing. But I just think like I haven't listened to that many really, really honest conversations about friends and family and how that is with business. So I think there's one side of friends and family on it by itself, but to do with business, it's like a whole nother ball game. So I think there's loads of different things to look at here. There's your friends, your family, and your relationship, like whether you're in a relationship or not. So for me, I feel like when I first launched my business, I had a lot of support from people. So everyone was like sharing it on their story, and I felt so loved, and like everyone was so excited for me. And then because the business grew quite fast, I spoke about that in my first episode, if you've not listened to that. I was like, oh my God, I'm growing so fast. All these amazing experiences are happening. And obviously I'm telling people because I'm excited. And I was just always met with such a weird response. Like, people wouldn't care, or they wouldn't be excited, or they just wouldn't meet me with what I wanted. And it made me feel really deflated. And I was like, am I speaking about myself too much? Like, maybe I should just stop speaking about myself, my business. Maybe it's coming off as if I'm bragging. But then I was like, well, no, I'm not bragging. I'm just sharing, that I've signed a new client, or I'm going on this amazing business trip, or whatever it is. And I couldn't work out like what was going on. And it was literally like the closest people to me, like my friends and my family. And I was so confused. And then I saw this quote at this time when I was going through all this and like trying to understand people's behavior. And it said that people want you to do well. They just don't want you to do better than them. So when you first start out, people are like, great, you're amazing. Woo, this is so fun. And then when you actually start to do well, they're like, oh, like this is a serious thing. So to put it into perspective, say, for example, you and your friend both are talking about like, how fun would it be if we were like famous YouTubers and got paid? Like, how fun would that be? And you speak about it. That's like me saying, I'm going to take the plunge and start a YouTube channel. And she's like, yes, girl, you go. You get that YouTube success. Thinking in her head, she's probably not going to make it. Like, this is just silly. Like, this is just, she's not actually going to make it. Then when you first, few thousand subscribers come in and you start getting brand deals, she starts pulling away because she's like, oh, now her dream's becoming my dream. That's how I've processed it and understood it. And I know that doesn't apply to everyone in that instance. Like, some people are just a bit bitter and odd and they don't celebrate people's wins. But it got so bad where I literally like lost friends. Like, I either cut them off because I was like, I'm speaking to you and you're not listening. You're not asking about anything. Or I feel like when you have a business, it becomes quite lonely because you've got so much going on in your head that you just don't have the brain capacity to talk about what you used to talk about, like gossiping about people or speaking about the same people from high school. Like, you're like, I've got bigger fish to fry here. Like, I don't have the capacity to think about this. And naturally, you just drift from people, which is fine. And you meet other people. And I think it just took me a really long time to understand why this was happening. And I actually had a really good conversation with my boyfriend when we were on holiday a couple of years ago, because I was like, just really upset and just really like, I just could not understand what was going on because all this amazing stuff was happening to me. And, I just bought my first office. I just hired my sister to work with me and people were like, oh, I could never work with my sister, or like, just like making really weird comments. And I was like, why does no one care? And he gave me a really good analogy, sort of similar to the last one. And he was like, imagine that you and your boyfriend are having like loads of issues and arguments, and then your best friend gets engaged. Like, naturally, there's going to be a little bit of something in you that's like, oh, I wish that was me. But the difference is that good, happy people that are secure in themselves are still celebrating their friends getting engaged, even though that's not them. And again, I'm a quote person. I saw a brilliant quote the other day. I'm going to see if I think it was Jay Shetty that said this. And he basically said, a real friend is someone that celebrates your success, even when they're like not successful in themselves yet, or even if they've not reached that success themselves. And that is so true. Like, that's bang on. Nail on the head, Jay Shetty, because it is so true. Because we all have things that we want to do. Like, I want to have kids one day, or, you might have a dream car. And when someone else gets your goal, that's when you have to do a lot of self-reflection. For me, if someone gets something that I am after, if anything, it motivates me to work harder. And I'm still like, amazing. How have you achieved that? I'm going to work even harder because I want it to. It doesn't bring out any envy or jealousy, but it's just thinking about, you can't get into everyone else's head. I think with me, that's one of my biggest faults, is that I cannot understand people's behavior, and I don't need to. Like, you don't need to understand why people are reacting in a certain way or why people aren't happy for you, because you'll honestly make yourself ill and you'll go around in circles. Just be happy for other people. And if anything, now I like to almost go overboard with it. And, if someone tells me, Vicky, I'm launching something new, I'm like, oh my God, you're launching something new. That is amazing. I've fallen off my chair in excitement for you, because I didn't have that. So I really, really want them to feel supported and that I'm excited, because I know what it's like for you to say, like, I remember just sitting with my friends being like, guys, my client has invited me to go to Barbados. Like, she's paying for me to go to no, not Barbados, Marrakesh. And I was like, what the hell? I was ecstatic about this. And there's just no reaction. And like, I could never go to Marrakesh. And one of my other friends was like, I wouldn't want to go to Marrakesh by myself. Like, it's not very, it's just really negative things. And I was like, is no one going to say like, well done, or that's amazing? And I feel like I always have to defend myself when I speak about this stuff because of all of the little trolly people in the comments. You wanting people to be happy for you does not mean that you're searching for validation. It's human nature that you want people that are in your life that you love and support to love and support you back. And when you don't get it, it just feels really odd and empty. And I've been really fortunate with the relationship side of things when I've grown, because I've been with my boyfriend since before I even started the business. So he's been with me through my panic attacks, through starting the business, launching it, everything. And I have been so lucky with him. Like, while I may not have been lucky with the friends and family front at times, he has been supportive throughout the whole process. And I've never, ever had a time where I felt resentment from him, or even when I started to do really well. And a few people were like, oh, like, don't tell Matt what you're earning, or don't tell Matt how well you're doing. I was like, why? He's my best friend. Like, he's my partner. I want to share with him, everything that I'm achieving. And everyone's like, yeah, well, men can get a bit insecure when the woman starts to earn more money, or men can feel a bit threatened. And I found that concept so weird. So I told him anyway, because he's my best friend. I'm like, why would I not tell him? And of course, he was like, that's amazing. Oh my God, I can't believe that you've done that. And I've been really, really lucky on that front, because I know that some people have boyfriends or girlfriends, whoever, that you tell things to and they don't care. And I can't imagine how that feels, when, like, especially if you live with them, or like you're with them every day and you're like, oh my God, I've done this amazing thing, and you just get no reaction. I'd say the only thing I found hard, like relationship wise, that I, again, haven't really seen anyone speak about, is just like giving your relationship enough time. So I probably shouldn't have said this, but I've said a few times to my boyfriend, I've been like, if I hadn't have met you when I did, I wouldn't have time for a boyfriend, because I met Matt before I launched the business. So I've been with him for years now. But if I was single now, I wouldn't even be thinking about having a partner. Like, I wouldn't have time to. And I think, like, it's harsh, but it's true, because you honestly, especially when you've got like so many different responsibilities, or staff, or an office, or just loads of clients, or whatever it is, you've got so much on your plate. And I went through a period, maybe like a year or year and a half ago, where I was literally like, I feel like I can't give him enough of my time. Like, I was literally waking up in the morning, he'd be like, morning, because we didn't live together at this point, and I wouldn't message him till like midday, be like, oh, sorry, morning. And then like all day, wouldn't message him. I'd get home, I'd be like straight off to a yoga class or make my tea, whatever, wouldn't speak to him. And I just didn't think of it really from his perspective. In my head, I was like, I'm just busy. But to him, it's like, why are you not messaging me? Like, what's going on? Are you okay? I just want to know you've made it into work safely. And I was like, oh my God, I'm fine. Like, I'm just really busy. And like, it created like friction, because I was so busy all the time. I couldn't really give him me. Like, I couldn't like, ask about his day. And I just didn't think about it from his perspective, really. I was just like, I'm busy, like, just deal with it. Like, this is just my life. And I had to do loads of, like, we had to have loads of conversations about like, is this going to work now that I'm so busy? And it's like, you want it to work, you want to find a way for it to work. But also I'm like, I don't know where I can possibly find the time for this. Like, we couldn't go out on dates. Like, we couldn't like FaceTime. Like, I was just so, so busy. And so I hired him. No, I'm joking. No, he does work with me now. But yeah, that was like, it's helped us in a way. Like, I live with Matt now, obviously, and I did hire him, but not for that reason. I hired him because it felt right, and he's our operations manager now. But surprisingly, I don't see him much, because I'm always in my office, and I'm still working on it, to be fair. I think it's easier now that I said I live with him. Like, I see him every night, but sometimes I'm not present. Like, sometimes I'm like so wrapped up in like, how is this TikTok performing? Or like, I'm listening back to like my podcast clips to make sure they sound okay before they go out, and I'm not present. So that's been something that I've struggled with, and I still struggle with. I still feel like, oh, okay, I'm not giving him enough of my time, or I'm not, sort of like circling back to like friends and family. The friends and family that I do see and that I do get on with, I don't see them much. Like, I really don't. And I literally don't have time. Like, I tell myself I don't have time. And I really struggle to balance like the social side with the business side. I find it really, really difficult. And I feel like I wish there was some sort of like magic advice that I could give you to sort it out. And there's really not. I think that I only sort of changed my habits and behaviors when it got to a point where we were literally sat there, me and Matt, like, how is this going to work? Like, you're so busy. And I wasn't making enough time for him. And it's only at that point where it's like rock bottom where you make a change. And I don't think it should get to that point where it hits like that. And you have to make a decision about how to move forward. So I think at the minute, obviously, everyone knows that I'm really busy. And I think people understand when you have a business, you're busy. And I think also just transitioning from like late teens to early 20s, everyone naturally, you accept that you've got responsibilities. Like some people have kids, everyone has jobs. You're not going to be seeing people as often as you would like to. But I think what I do, this is actually quite a weird thing that I do that, again, I've not heard anyone speak about this. I think that's my catchphrase of today's podcast. I have on my notes app in my phone a list of people that I consider like my people, like really important to me, that I need to communicate with, that like I don't want to lose them. And I make an effort like at least once a month to message them or to meet up with them. Because if I didn't, I would literally never see them. And I think that's really, even though it sounds quite weird, it's just nice to remind yourself those people exist, like those people want to see you. Because if you know me, I am the world's worst replier. Like I won't reply. But if you phone me and you need me, like I'm there straight away. I just really struggle with replying. So I do that to sort of maintain things. And I also just like try and communicate with people. Obviously, now that I live with Matt, like we communicate, and I am one of those people where I will say sorry. Like a lot of people around me are Geminis and very stubborn and won't say sorry. But if I feel like I've not given some of my best energy that day, or I've not, I don't know, when you're just going through it and you're quite snappy with your friends and family, like I'll just be like, do you know what? I'm really sorry. I had a bad day today. I'm really good at self-reflection and like understanding my actions. So I think that with friends, family, and relationships, because we as business owners have so much on our plate, you do have to get to a point where you think, okay, I have limited time to see people. Who do I actually want to see? Who fills my cup? Who do I leave like an interaction with and feel energized and feel refreshed and happy? And who do I leave thinking, oh my God, what a waste of time? And just think to yourself, like, say if you've got a meeting booked in with a friend, are you excited to see them? Or do you feel like, oh, for God's sake, I've just got to see her just so I can say that I've seen her? Because I was doing that with a lot of people, like friends and family, just seeing them for the sake of seeing them. And I was like, they're actually not adding anything to me. And when I started to be a bit selfish for once and say no, or to stop messaging people, I actually never heard from them again. And you'll see where you stand with people. Like if you're always the first one to message, they'll actually never message you, and then you might never hear from them again. And it was like a really horrible period that I went through where I was just like, I'm so busy. I need to be more selective of who I spend my time around, because as well, if you're constantly spending your time with like negative people, you really absorb that energy and you can catch yourself falling into like really bad habits. So I just went through a phase where I was like, these are my people in my notes. This is who fills me up. This is who makes me happy. Anyone outside of that, like obviously I've got people that I know well, maybe I'm not like best friends with them, that I'll message every now and then, or like we'll meet up for a coffee every now and then. But just really prioritize like who is going to add value to your life. So I think moving on to family is always a difficult topic because everyone has family issues. I think that's one thing that I've learned as I've grown up, is like there's no one that has a perfect family. Like my parents are separated and it was a really difficult time for me and my family. And I was like, it really opened my eyes to how many parents are separated. Like it's such a common thing. So I think when it comes to family, we grow up and you have these expectations of like what your family should be and how they should celebrate you, when you do well. And when I was starting my business and starting to do well, that was like the first time when I had some family members that weren't happy for me, or they weren't asking me questions, or it was just it felt a weird energy. Like it felt weird and awkward, and I felt uncomfortable speaking about my business. And I think you think, these are my family. Like how, I'm from you. I originated from you. How am I not getting the feedback that I'm looking for here? And the thing that I've learned is that just because someone's your family, or just because someone's your mum, dad, grandma, granddad, whatever, cousin, it doesn't mean that they have their shit figured out. Like, I think that we think that our parents or grandparents or whoever it is, because they're older, that they're wiser and they have their head screwed on straight. Like, they still have their own insecurities. And a lot of people react differently to success, because sometimes, especially with like the generation that my parents were brought up with, or grandparents or whatever, they didn't have the opportunities that we have today. So when you're succeeding, it's like holding up a mirror to what they could have done to themselves. And sometimes you don't always get the reaction that you want. And I think the thing is, when it comes to like friends and family and relationships, it's just thinking about like understanding other people's emotions, and also coming to terms with the fact that sometimes you won't get the reaction that you want, and that's okay. There's some people I speak to now, and I know that if I share with them something about my business, I won't get the reaction maybe that I would have got from like my friends or my sister or whatever. And I just now let go of expectations. And even though I didn't need validation in the first place, I now just think about, I really don't need validation. Like, I know what I've achieved is amazing. Or even this podcast, like, I'll tell people about this podcast and I'll get such mixed reactions from people. Like, some people will be like, wow, Vic, that's amazing, I'll listen to every episode. Some people will instantly go, oh God, I could never start a podcast. And you're like, hello, have you just ignored the fact that I said I'm launching a podcast? Like, everyone reacts to it in such different ways. I think when you yourself are really proud of it, other people's opinions don't matter. And it's just like an extra little cherry on the cake when it's done well. But I think that there's so much power in being like, I know I'm amazing. I know what I've achieved is great. And I don't need anyone else to tell me that it's great. Because I used to do that. And sometimes I do it now to my boyfriend, but that's just because sometimes I can be a bit needy and annoying. Is I'll literally say something like, I'm launching a podcast. That's really good, isn't it? Like, I'll ask people and I'll say like, isn't that good? Are you proud of me? And it's like my childhood traumas are like seeping in a little bit. Like, I want people to be proud of me the same way you want your parents to be proud of you. And I literally, if I don't get the reaction, I used to be like, isn't that good? Isn't that good? And get them to like agree with me. But now I'm like, I shouldn't have to say that to people. They should want to say like, wow, babe, that's brilliant. And if they don't, I still know that it's brilliant. So there's so many mindset shifts with it. And I think that especially if you're in a place at the minute where you're stuck, like I was speaking to someone recently who had a lot of family issues and they live at home with their family. And it's really hard when you're in a situation where you maybe live with someone who upsets you or is negative and you're like trapped, and you listen to podcasts like this and you're like, great, but I live with them. I can't escape it. And it's just, I think, being conscious of what you speak about. So for me, if I was like living with someone maybe that was difficult and you want to speak about what you want to speak about your business and you don't get the reaction you want, just don't speak to them about it, because it's not like it's going to change overnight and one day you're going to get a great reaction. And if it's always going to upset you, just don't speak about it. Like that's the best advice that I can give. Is just speak about other things and just don't speak about it. And eventually, hopefully, you'll find a way where you can live with someone else, or you'll move out if it's like a parent or a brother or a sister or whatever it is. So I think now that I'm very selective with who I tell what to. And one of my favorite things ever that I would recommend anyone does, especially if you are in business, is just try and speak to people that do what you do, or that are business owners. Like, I wasn't a massive fan of like networking or leaving the house really, because I was so broken from having so many failed friendships and like relationships that I was like, I don't even want to tell anyone what I do because someone's going to get upset, someone's going to get jealous, or some people are going to react in weird ways. I just don't want to tell anyone. And then I started to go to like business retreats and just like networking events, and I'd meet people who would literally be so besotted by what I do and sit and speak to me and really ask me about what I do. And I was like, wow, these people exist. Like, this is crazy. And I think I'd become so used to like shrinking myself down, because I was always told I was too much or I was too loud, too annoying, that I used to say things and be like, so at the time I'd be like, I'm 22, I own a social media agency, blah, blah, blah. And people would be like, wait, what? You're 22 and you own a social media? That's incredible. And it's not until you meet the right people where you actually realize how incredible you are. And those are the people that you should surround yourself with. But I do think as well, like a lot of people say that those are like yes people and people that will always clap for you and stuff. It is also important to have people that are like realistic. So like usually when I want to launch something new or do something crazy and I have these conversations with my boyfriend, my mum, whoever, and they'll be like, well, just be careful of this, or maybe, don't do that, don't do this. And I used to see that as a negative and be like, guys, shut up. I've got this idea. Stop like talking me out of it. But sometimes it is important to have those people that are just like, they care about you and they're just like, is this going to work realistically? Because I am such a optimistic yes person. I'm like, yes, just do it. Yes, think later. Act now, think later. I am such a sporadic person. And like, if I have an idea, I have to do it. And if someone tries to stop me, I get really moody with them. I'm like, don't speak to me. Don't burst my bubble. But it's really nice to have a range of people in your life that are like realistic ones, people that will clap for you when you win, people that you'll have a cry with. Like, I've just got so many different people for different things. And just like knowing that you can be friends with people in your industry as well. A lot of people are like, they see other people in their industry as a threat and they're like, oh, she does social media as well. Like, I don't want to speak to her. But it's just like, there's so much room for everyone to succeed, like so much room for everyone to succeed. I've got so many amazing friends in this industry and I'll always clap people when they win in this industry. And I think that, again, that just comes from insecurities. So it's just finding the right people. If you're in a situation now where you literally can't avoid a certain person, or if you're in a friendship where they're really getting on your nerves, not supporting you, and you're like, because I've been there and I used to listen to podcasts about how to like cut off toxic friends and stuff. And I'm like, God, I could never do that. Like, it would be so awkward. There's going to be an argument. And I think it'll either happen naturally or just distancing yourself. Because usually it's like, you shouldn't have to tell someone to want to celebrate you. You shouldn't have to say, guys, can I just say, like, I don't feel supported by you and I don't feel like you're happy for me. People that are truly happy for you, you shouldn't have to tell them to be happy for you. So I wouldn't bring it up to someone, because it should be in someone's nature to celebrate you anyway. So we're going to conclude. I hope that has helped someone. And I do worry about things, when I speak about friends and family and things like that, whether it's going to upset people. But I think that these are my experiences and hopefully it can help someone. One of my issues is that I have no filter and I will literally wish I could tell the internet everything, but some things I've got to stay personal and private. So yeah, if that helped, let me know. And I just think that it's a very unique situation owning a business and dealing with these sort of situations, and like expecting to get certain responses from people that you might not necessarily have. So changing a circle changes your life and lowering your expectations of what people are going to say. And also just like believing yourself and knowing that you're brilliant at what you do. And when you're proud of yourself, be proud of yourself and don't need other people to tell you that they're proud of you. That is what I would say. So I'll leave you with that. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, wherever you're listening to this, whether you're running, swimming, driving, whatever it is that you're doing, watching. And I'll see you on the next episode of Business